The youth, strapped in the shock couch at the center of the small chamber, appeared to be sleeping peacefully. The muscles of his narrow face were relaxed and his eyes were closed. His head had rolled forward until his chin rested on the burnished metal neckring of his orange safe suit. With his smooth cheeks and his brush-cut sandy blonde hair, he looked even younger than he was. He came to consciousness slowly, as though he had been cheated of sleep and was reluctant to give it up. But as the fog cleared, he had a sudden, terrifying sensation of leaning out over the edge of a cliff. His eyes flashed open and he found himself looking down. The 5-point harness held him to a couch which was tipped forward. He raised his head and quickly took in the rest of his surroundings. There was little to see. He was alone in the tiny chamber. Above his head, hanging from the ceiling, was a sort of command board with a bank of square green lamps. The board was in easy reach, except that there appeared to be no switches or controls for him to manipulate. In one corner of the panel, the word Massey was etched in stylized black letters. None of what he saw made sense. The simple truth was, he did not know where he was, why he was there, or how long he had been there. But at the moment, none of those things seemed to matter, for he realized with rapidly growing dismay that he also did not know who he was.
Are you all right?
Who are you? Where are you? Where am I?
I am Darla, your companion. Please try to remain calm. We're in no immediate danger. You are inside a Massey Corporation Model G85 life pod. Massey has been the leader in space safety systems.
Why are there no controls?
All G-series pods have been designed to independently evaluate the most productive strategy and respond appropriately.
You're not a person. What are you then? A computer program?
I am a positronic personality. The companion concept is the Massey Corporation's unique contribution to humane safety systems.
Do you know who I am?
Your badge identifies you as Derek.
Derek? Can you scan the data strip on the badge? There should be a photograph, a citizenship record. Then I'd know for sure.
I'm sorry. There's no data reader in the pod, and my optical sensors can't resolve a pattern that fine.
Then I'll be Derek for now.
All the pod's environmental systems are working well. Rescue vessels should be on their way here now.
Where are we, Darla? What kind of place did you land us on?
Would you like me to show you our surroundings? I have a limited bag available.
Derek somehow knew the term, but wondered where he'd learned it.
Let's see.
The lights dimmed, and the central third of the hatch became a background for a flat-screen projection directed down from the command board overhead.
Scan right. Moon or asteroid?
No matter where we are safe. We must trust in the authorities to locate and retrieve us.
How can I trust in that when I don't know where we are and what the chances are that we'll be found? I know this pod doesn't have a full recycle environmental system. No pod ever does. You deny it? How much of a margin did the Massey Corp decide was enough? 10 days? 2 weeks?
Derek, maintaining the proper attitude is crucial.
Save the therapist bit, will you? Look, I know you're trying to protect me. Some people cope better that way, what they don't know and all that. But I'm different. I need information or reassurance. I need to know what you know, understand?
Derek was puzzled when Darla did not answer. It dawned on him slowly that he must have presented her with a dilemma which her positronic brain was having difficulty solving. But there should have been no dilemma. Darla was obliged by the second law of robotics to answer his questions. The second law said,
"A robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law."
The first law said,
"A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm."
Darla had to know how small the chance of rescue was, even within the star system. And Darla knew as well as any robot what sort of harm that fact could do to the emotional balance of a human being. He had to reason with her.
Darla, I'm not the kind of person you were told to expect. I need something to do, something to think about. I can't just sit here and wait. I can deal with bad news if that's what you're hiding.
I understand, Derek. Of course, I will be happy to tell you what I know.
Good. What ship are we from? There's no shipper's crest or ship logo anywhere in the cabin.
This is a Massey Corporation G85 life pod.
You told me that already. What ship are we from?
Massey life pods are the primary safety system on 6 of the 8 largest general commercial space carriers.
You don't know.
Our customization option has not been initialized. Would you care for a game of chess?
No. So all you know how to do is shill for the manufacturer. Which means that we probably came from a privately owned ship. All the commercial carriers customize their gear.
I have no information in that area.
In fact, I think somewhere among your systems there has to be a data recorder. Activated the moment the pod was ejected. It should tell you not only what ship we came from and where it was headed, but what's happened since. It's time to find out how smart you really are, Darla. We need to find that recorder and get into it.
I have no information about such a recorder.
Trust me, it's there. If it wasn't, there'd be no way to do postmortems after a ship's disaster. Are you in control of the pod's power bus?
Yes.
Look for an uninterruptible line. That'll be it.
Just a moment. Yes, there are 2.
What are they called?
My system map labels them 1402 and 1632.
That's all right. One will be the recorder and the other is probably the locator beacon. We're making progress. Now, find the data paths that correspond with those power taps. They should tell us which one is which.
I'm sorry, I can't.
They have to be there. The recorder will be taking data from your navigation module, from the environmental system. Probably even an abstract of this conversation. There ought to be a whole forest of data paths.
I'm sorry, Derek. I am unable to do what you ask.
Why?
When I run a diagnostic trace of that portion of the system, I am unable to find any unlabeled paths.
Can you show me your service schematic? Maybe I can find something.
The icescape vanished and was replaced by a finely detailed projection of the life pod's logic circuits. Scanning it, Derek quickly found the answer. A smart data gate, a Maxwell junction, was guarding the data line to the recorder, and the 2 systems were effectively isolated. The third law.
A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws.
How would a robot balance its responsibility to preserve itself with the increasing probability of its demise? To Derek, it was as though the designers had concluded that there were things Darla was better off not knowing, and thrown up barriers to prevent her from finding out. They had kept her ignorant of herself, and even of her ignorance.
Have you found anything?
The recorder's tied through a Maxwell junction. The junction won't pass through to the recorder anything it doesn't recognize, which is why you can't find it with a trace, and why we're not going to be able to read it through you. But there has to be a data port somewhere. It's probably on the outer hull. What's going on?
Please stay calm.
What is it? Have we been found?
Yes, I believe we have, but I am unable to say my word.
Put the exterior video up again. Quickly!
Derek, I am becoming concerned about your level of agitation. Please close your eyes and take several deep breaths.
I will do no such thing. I want to see what is going on.
Very well.
A half-dozen machines, each different from the next, were arrayed around the pod.
What's going on? Can you identify them? Did they make any contact with us?
The device below us appears to be a cargo sled. I have no information on the other mechanisms.
I'm going out. I'm not going to let us be hijacked like this with no explanation.
Leaving the pod would be too dangerous. In addition, you will lose a minimum of 4 hours oxygen opening the hatch.
It's worth it to find out what's going on.
I can't allow that, Derek.
It's not your decision.
I am sorry, Derek. It is.
For the second time in one day, Derek awoke in strange surroundings. As before, Derek was alone, but this time he found himself in more domestic settings. A 4-man efficiency cabin, 3 meters wide by 5 meters long. The bed he had been lying in was a fold-down bunk, one of 4 mounted on the side walls. To his right, as he sat on the edge of the bunk, was a bank of storage lockers of assorted sizes. To his left was a closed door. Half afraid that he would find it locked, Derek crossed to the door and touched the key plate. Outside was a short corridor flanked by 4 doors. The corridor was deserted, and the other doors all closed. To Derek's left, the corridor terminated into a blank wall. The other end was sealed by an airlock. Through the small window in the inner pressure door, he caught a glimpse of another corridor lying beyond.
Hello?
The door facing him was labeled Wardroom. Inside, he found a table large enough to seat 8 for a meeting or a meal, a compact auto galley, a sophisticated computer terminal, and a communications center.
Password.
Derek.
Invalid password.
Test?
Invalid password.
Password.
Invalid password. Access denied.
Returning to the corridor, Derek briefly checked the other 2 rooms. Both rooms were as tidy and deserted as everything else Derek had seen since waking. That left only the airlock.
Warning, there is a reduced pressure nitrogen atmosphere beyond this point. Please select rebreather.
Nitrogen? Ready.
Warning, reduced gravity beyond this point.
Thank you.
It was cold. The chill seemed to radiate equally from the ceiling and the floor, though they were both made of an insulating synthetic mesh. Determined to follow the sounds to their source, he started down the corridor. 30 meters ahead, the corridor opened into an enormous, low-ceiling chamber. Derek gaped as he took in its dimensions.
Between this cold and low gravity, I must still be on the asteroid where the life pod crashed. Probably underground. But at least I'm not alone.
There were robots moving among the stacks and aisles, dozens of them, of a half-dozen different varieties. Derek started back. A robot was emerging from the wardroom, its business apparently finished.
I'm in danger! I need your help! I'm not letting you leave here until you tell me where I am and what I'm doing here!
The robot's answer was nonverbal, but perfectly clear. Stepping closer, it grasped his shoulders firmly, but gently, and moved him out of the way. Then, it walked with smooth strides past him to the hatch. Feeling helpless, Derek let the robot go, and turned to see if he could discover what it had been doing in the wardroom. The screen of the comm center was no longer blank. In bright red letters, it reported, "Message transmitted." It was then that Derek knew for certain that he was alone on the asteroid. Donning a breather and a spare cartridge pack, Derek left the E-cell to explore the rest of the complex. Most of the robots he encountered were moving purposefully through the aisles, carrying out their assignments. But towards the north end of the chamber, Derek spotted a small army of robots standing inert and de-energized, waiting to be called into action. There was a steady stream of robot traffic on the lifts located at intervals throughout the chamber. The next step was to find out where they were going. Derek headed for the nearest lift. The shaft was a vertical boring 3 meters in diameter, its sides lined with the same synthemesh as the chamber ceiling. The platform reached the floor level and stopped as though it were waiting for him.
Level 2.
When he stepped off the lift, he was standing at the crossroads of 2 low-ceiling tunnels, each 6 meters wide. The walls, floor, and ceiling were covered with the ubiquitous off-white synthemesh. The next 2 levels were just as silent and finished-looking as 2, but level 5 was another story. When he stepped off the lift, he could feel rolling vibrations in the floor and ceiling of the tunnel. As Derek proceeded closer, he saw that a gateway was actually crawling slowly forward, like some mechanical larva. The gateway was burrowing through the asteroidal mass and leaving a finished tunnel in its wake. But Derek's real interest was in the excavation beyond. The narrow walkway widened into a control cabin, where 2 humanoid robots sat behind a bank of transparent panels, looking out into the excavation chamber that surrounded the gateway on 3 sides. Derek stood a few steps short of the ramp into the excavation. As he studied the work rig, a metallic hand touched his shoulder. Derek turned his back on the robot and looked once more into the excavation. Like the gateway, the mining unit was slowly advancing towards an ever-receding rock face. It was as though, having gone to all the trouble to mine the asteroid, the robots had forgotten to sort out the part of it they wanted to keep. Some of the tailings were diverted to a spur conveyor, run through a crusher, and then used as raw material for the 15-centimeter thick walls of the tunnel. To Derek's astonishment, the rest was carried to the back wall of the work chamber, reunited with the captured methane and ammonia, and built up into a wall of ice and rock again. The excavation never got any larger.
What about the tunnel? They have to be taking something out. What are you mining here? What's the point of all this? How many other excavations are underway in this complex? 10? 50? 500?
The scenario baffled Derek for some time. He thought on this long and hard on the way back to the E-cell, and suddenly Derek knew. The realization staggered him. The robots weren't mining the asteroid at all. They were sifting it. They were searching for something. Something lost, or buried, or hidden. Something so unique and valuable that it was worth any price, any effort. Hours later, Derek reached the E-cell with barely enough energy to fold down one of the bunks before he collapsed in it. When he awoke, Derek began to think about escaping, for it was clear now that the most likely message for the supervisor to have sent was something on the order of, "We have an intruder. What shall we do with him?" He did not want to wait around for the supervisor's masters to arrive. The key to escaping was Darla. The pod's thrusters were almost certainly rated for a much stronger gravity field than the one the asteroid had. If so, Derek thought, then there should be more than enough fuel remaining to lift off the asteroid again and put some distance between it and himself. If only he could convince Darla of the wisdom of that act. But first, he had to find her. So he began by riding the lift in search of the place where he had been brought into the asteroid. Most of the chamber was filled with neatly aligned rows of machines, bug-like augments and borers, tracked carriers and flying globes like the one Derek had seen when the robots were carrying him and his pod away. On the far side of the room was a steep ramp enclosed by a transparent material led up and out onto the surface. There was a supervisor there as well, seated at the control station with its back to Derek. Though it gave no such sign, Derek was sure the robot was aware of his presence. Stepping off the lift, Derek began to wander among the idle machines, scanning the chamber as he went. There was no sign of the pod or of his safe suit. Moving behind the nearest augment, he entered through the access door in the back and settled in the saddle-like seat.
Close and pressurize.
Sir, this is a restricted area.
Tell me where I can find the survival pod I came here in.
You do not have authorization to leave the community.
That's where it is, isn't it? On the surface. That's where you hid it. What'd you do, put my suit back in it after you took it off me? I'm going out. If you do not wish to be damaged, you better get out of the way.
The survival pod is not on the surface.
Either I go looking on the surface or you show me where the pod is. Those are the only choices.
I will show you the pod.
Are we going outside or down below?
Down. Here.
Where?
Here.
No. Why'd you do it?
It was necessary to determine that the search objective was not concealed within the pod.
And my safe suit? Did they tear that apart too? It figures. I suppose having you put the pod and the suit back together is out of the question.
Nothing may take priority over the primary directive.
What about all those spare robots sitting up north doing nothing? You could activate a few of them.
The tasks would require not only assemblers, but the supervision of a systemist. All systemists are fully scheduled under the current duty cycle.
I guess that means no. You have a name of some kind?
I am Monitor 5.
Why are you talking to me, Monitor 5?
I perceived that you were stressed. While stressed, humans frequently derive benefit from communication.
I guess that's one way to say it. Then tell me, Monitor 5, do you robots know what you're looking for?
I may not reveal any information about my mission here.
What about me? Are you allowed to tell me what you know about me?
What do you wish to know?
The event recorder in the survival pod, did they find it?
I was not part of that work unit. I will consult Analyst 3. Yes, a data recorder was located.
Did it tell you what ship I came from? How I got here? Anything?
The recorder had not been initialized. The recording disk was blank.
Oh. There was a data strip on my suit.
It was a test strip. It contained no personal data.
A test strip?
They are quite common. They are used in calibrating a data reader's scanner.
But it said Derek.
Yes, the leading manufacturer of such readers is Derek Data Systems.
Then you don't know who I am either.
No, we do not know who you are.
And that message you sent about me, what did it say?
I did not send the message. One moment while I consult Analyst 17. Analyst 17 believed that due to your irrational behavior, you would come to harm or endanger the primary objective unless continually supervised. Therefore, he sent a message requesting that you be rescued.
He made that decision on his own?
Analyst 17 felt that the threat was of sufficient magnitude to transcend the prohibition regarding communications.
Prohibition from who? Who's in charge here? And who'd he send the message to?
May not
reveal any information about your mission here, yes.
Are you ill?
No. I am just back to square one, that's all.
Dispirited, Derek retreated to the E-cell. His illusion of being even partially in control of his own fate destroyed.
What do you want?
Priority interrupt. Password. Proceed. Message transmitted. Resume.
Cancel. Identify yourself.
I am Analyst 9.
What's happening? What did you just do?
Please stand aside. I have urgent duties elsewhere.
The last time one of you was in here, it was to send a distress message. Now what's up now? Is the ship here? Is that it? I have a right to know what's going on.
Please do not interfere.
Damn robot.
Out in the chamber, Derek found frenzied activity bordering on chaos. Dozens of Porter and Picker robots were streaming off the lifts, as if some massive exodus were underway. Scores more were scurrying through the aisles, gathering up components and carrying them towards the west wall and the recycling smelter located there. To Derek's astonishment, instead of depositing what they held and turning back to get more, the Pickers and the Porters carried their burdens directly into the heart of the smelter and never appeared again. For some reason, the robots were systematically destroying selected items on their storehouse and themselves at the same time. Derek had lost track of Analyst 9. As he scanned the chamber trying to find it, he saw something else extraordinary. There were no supervisors anywhere in the warehouse. The various manufacturing centers were standing silent and abandoned. On a hunch, Derek fought his way to the left and commandeered a platform to carry him up to level 0. There, he found a gathering of 20 supervisors. They were standing, motionless, in a circle, hands linked as though in some sort of direct conference.
Monitor 5.
Yes, Derek.
Can you tell me what is happening?
Surface sensors have detected a large spacecraft approaching. The trajectory and velocity profile indicate that it will match orbit with this planetoid.
I'm going to get off this rock, praise the stars.
There is a 68% probability that the ship intercepted the distress signal. However, there is only a 9% probability that the ship is here to rescue you.
Intercepted? They aren't the people you were calling?
No, Derek.
Who are they then? What do they want?
The ship is currently unidentified.
Is that why all the robots downstairs are going crazy?
I cannot answer that question now. I may be able to tell you more shortly.
What should I do?
Wait.
Great. How long?
Not long. Excuse me. The analysts are calling for me.
Crossing the room, Monitor 5 joined the conference circle. He stood there with them for perhaps 2 minutes. Then the circle broke apart. Most of the supervisors headed for the lift. 2 of them, including Monitor 5, came to where Derek stood.
I have been appointed to communicate with you.
Appointed?
By default, none of the analysts feel comfortable dealing with a human.
You telling me that they haven't been talking to me because they don't want to? They don't know how?
Few exceptions. Their experience has been exclusively with other robots. I have been chosen because of my previous success in communicating with you.
Is he another exception?
I am accompanied by Analyst 17.
Ah. We've met. Sort of.
Analyst 17 is here to assist me. Please, Derek, there are important matters to discuss and there is very little time.
Then get started.
Thank you. The analysts are agreed that the approaching ship is a threat to the security of our operation. The possibility of discovery was anticipated by those who placed us here. Our instructions for such a circumstance are to destroy ourselves and this facility. Certain preliminary steps are already underway.
The robots at the smelter.
Yes. All proprietary technology must be destroyed and the excavation rendered unusable. This directive was impressed upon us at the highest level of necessity and urgency. We must comply. However, your presence was not anticipated.
What do I have to do with it?
As long as you are present, we are not able to fulfill our directive, since to destroy the complex would kill you. Even to destroy ourselves would leave you unprotected. Therefore, for us to carry out our directive, it is necessary for you to leave.
I've been ready to leave since I got here. Just show me the way.
Unfortunately, since leaving the community also represents significant risk to your life, we are unable to assist you in doing this and are in fact obliged to prevent it.
So you're not going to put my pod back together? My safe suit?
Oh.
This is crazy.
On the contrary, it is fundamentally logical. If we protect you, you will almost certainly die, which we cannot allow. If we fail to protect you, you may survive, but you will be placed in great danger, which we cannot allow.
So what are you going to do with me?
Nothing. No action is possible. If we help you to escape, we will be placing you in danger. But if we prevent your escape, we will also be placing you in danger.
Is that what you want me to do? Escape?
We want you to remain safe and unharmed.
What if I do leave?
When we discover that you are gone, we will have to pursue you. However, until you are returned to our care, the remainder of the community will be free to pursue the next highest priority directive.
In other words, if I escape, the first law is no longer a factor. You can go ahead and destroy yourselves in good conscience.
That is essentially correct, but I must warn you, there is a danger if you continue to discuss it.
Escape to where?
You must consider that question.
Well, I can, and I don't like the answer. I'll tell you what I intend to do. As soon as that ship is close enough to pick up the signal from a suit transmitter, I'm going to get into one of those augments over there. I'm going up to the surface to ask them to save me from you.
We could not allow that.
So what am I supposed to do? Go wander around on the surface until my air runs out? This is nuts. How can you even ask me to do such a thing?
I must repeat, there is a danger.
We have not asked you to do anything. We have simply outlined for you the consequences of actions you may choose to take.
You may not be asking, but you're dropping some pretty loud hints. You're telling me that if I want to go kill myself, you'll look the other way. I don't understand how this whole conversation can even be taking place. What's wrong with all of you?
I am following the highly conditional logic path proposed by Analyst 17.
So that's why he's really here.
In which the uncertainty of your fate is modified by your own volitional acts to a positive value weighed against the high probability of harm due to inaction.
In other words, you talked yourself into it. Well, you haven't talked me into it. Your prime objective and your security don't mean a thing to me. You think it's important to me if you can't destroy yourselves? See, I don't care if that ship belongs to your worst enemy. In fact, I'm beginning to think that if they are your enemy, that makes them my friend. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm sure as hell not going to kill myself to get you off the hook.
Derek left. Analyst 17 followed. When Derek entered the wardroom, the video from a sky camera somewhere on the surface was being displayed on the comm center screen. A dark, backlit hulk was moving across the star background as it closed in on the asteroid. Clearly, a massive spaceship of some kind.
What's happening?
We are under attack.
Who are they?
Unknown.
Well, didn't they hail us? What do they want?
There was no signal on any frequency commonly used for communication.
What kind of weapons are they using?
The ship's armament appears to consist primarily of phased microwave lasers.
And what do we have to fight back
The
with?
community has no weapons.
What?
It is highly probable that the ship contains humans. We would not be permitted to use weapons against them.
Are we in danger?
Yes.
How much?
The ship began its attack in the area of our only permanent surface installation, the antenna farm located 170 degrees east of the primary shaft.
These vibrations we're feeling are from that far away?
Yes, the primary assault was successful, and communications are out. A number of tunnels in that region have apparently collapsed. Firing pattern now appears to be random. The ship is currently in a nearly synchronous orbit with a slippage of 2 degrees per minute.
So in less than 90 minutes, they'll be overhead.
That is correct.
How are you going to destroy the complex?
The material used to line all the tunnel walls contains an explosive. Once all the other supervisors have been destroyed, the last monitor and analyst will together transmit the trigger signal. The resulting explosion should cause the entire excavated portion of the asteroid to subside.
I see.
The line at the smelter included supervisors, but they took no notice of him as he passed by. He rode the lift up to level 0, where he discovered that Monitor 5 had been busy taking precautions against his return. 2 of the augments were missing. The third was wedged against the wall by one of the tracked carriers. The robot was seated at the console when Derek arrived.
The surface is a restricted area.
I know that. This equipment isn't properly stored. I'm going to take care of it.
You may not leave. You are in no danger here.
Wrong! If I stay here, I'll be killed when the ship destroys the station!
We will protect you.
You can't even protect yourselves! Power on. I don't want to harm you. You can't stop me. You've done your duty by trying, now stand aside!
You are attempting to commit suicide. I am not required to comply with your orders under these circumstances.
I'm trying to save myself! If you really want me to live, you'll step aside and give me a chance!
I cannot allow.
I can't stand here and debate it, I'm sorry!
Derek climbed into the open cab unimpeded. As he backed the carrier away from the wall and turned it towards the ramp, he saw Monitor 5 still laying on the floor where he had left it, vainly trying to repair the damage Derek had done. Its slit-like scanners followed Derek as he drove the carrier up through the lock and out onto the surface. Derek drove far enough to separate himself from the target of the complex. As soon as he was on foot, he began looking for the right place to work on his suit. Eventually, Derek settled on a fissure in an ice cliff that faced back the way he had come. From there, he had a fair view of the terrain. Fortunately, augments were designed to be field repairable, a practice which had saved more than one laborer's life. The attacking spacecraft had climbed above the western horizon. Time was running out. Derek completed the work on the right leg without mishap, but by the time he was ready to start on the left...
Derek, please listen. Derek, you must stop. This is madness.
200 meters away on the slope of a mountain, due north of him, was a robot.
Go away!
Derek, you must return to the compound. You are in danger here. Derek, it's here. In the ice. I found it.
Derek looked up. Firing had stopped, and there was no sign of the robot.
Modified, go back to the installation! There's nothing you can do for me out here!
Just then, a metallic arm appeared out of the lip of the trench. The hand was clutching a small silver object. A moment later, Monitor 5 was struggling out of the trench. Starting towards Derek, Monitor 5 raised the silver object triumphantly overhead in one hand.
You must take it.
raider ship was now a great, ominous mass directly overhead. A laser tracked a fiery line across the robot's torso. An instant later, Monitor 5 disappeared in a silent explosion of all blue-green flame and disintegrating metal. The explosion sent pieces flying in all directions, one of the largest spinning so rapidly Derek could not tell what it was. It came cartwheeling toward him. As it struck the ground and skidded to a stop, Derek saw what it was. Monitor 5's right arm. And still, gripped tightly in those fingers, was the shining silver object, a rectangle, perhaps 5 centimeters by 15 centimeters, the size of a remote controller or a memory cartridge. Gathering his feet under himself, Derek glanced upward to gauge the distance and the angle to the raider's ship. He lifted his feet on the control pads, and the suit went into a crouch. He jammed his feet down hard, and the powerful legs of the augment kicked out with all their might. Like a tiny spacecraft, the augment launched itself from the surface, carrying Derek towards a rendezvous with the raider's ship. Then it seemed as though the gunners were targeting the debris itself. When he was within about 100 meters of the nearest part of the ship and beginning to scan for a place to latch onto with a free hand, the entire bubble faceplate of the augment lit up with a blue light that crawled in all directions like something alive. Derek's limbs went numb and his senses went wild. Derek came back to awareness calmly and easily. He was no longer outside the alien ship. He was no longer in the augment. Instead, he was lying on his back on hard decking, staring at a ceiling filled with small doors. A large animal covered with mottled brown and gold fur squatted on its haunches nearby, watching Derek. It reminded Derek of a dog, like an undersized St. Bernard with the alert eyes of a wolf. But the face was too flat, the ears too high and pointed, and the forelegs ended not in paws, but in gray-skinned, sausage-like fingers.
Are you all right?
I think so.
Oh, that is good. Animus will be pleased. He did not want armed.
The best way to guarantee that is not to shoot at people.
If we'd been shooting at we would have it too.
What are you?
Your friend. What more do you need to know?
There's 140 colonized worlds and nothing like you on any of them.
Where I come from, there are 200 colonized worlds, and nothing like ooh on any of them. Come, Aranimus is waiting.
Who is Aranimus?
Aranimus, boss. Odyssey.
Wait. What's your name?
Can't say.
No.
Thought not. Come then. Not wise to keep Aranimus waiting.
Where do the other doors lead?
Can't tell you.
Peering over the alien's shoulder, Derek caught glimpses of what seemed to be a control center and of a figure seated at the console with its back to them. There was something vaguely familiar and human about the figure, and something wrong and disturbing at the same time. The alien sitting at the console was humanoid, and Derek could describe him in very human terms. But even sitting down, Aranimus was as tall as Derek, and he had the arm span of a condor. Above Aranimus was a huge curved viewing screen on which 80 different views of the asteroid's surface were being projected. Superimposed on most of them were blue lines targeting grids and small characters Derek took to be numbers.
Aranimus?
Dr. Ooh, when he's ready.
There's nothing down there anymore. They blew it all up. What are you doing this for?
What is your name?
Derek.
This device robots you used to attack my ship. What was it?
An augmented work suit, altered to allow the leg servos to operate at full power. And I wasn't attacking you, I was escaping.
Were you a prisoner?
I was stranded on the asteroid in a survival pod. The robots found me and then wouldn't let me go. I had to steal that equipment from them to get away.
Where did you come from before you were stranded?
I don't know. I can't remember anything before that.
Don't lie to him. It makes him angry.
I'm not lying. As far as I can tell, 5 days ago I didn't exist. That's how much I know about who I am.
While Derek spoke, Aramis reached inside the folds of his clothing and extracted a small golden stylus.
Oh, no. Too late. I know something of the rules governing robots and humans. Humans build robots to serve them. Robots follow human direction. If you were the only human on the asteroid, then it follows that the robots here were under your command and serving your purpose. I will know who you are and what you know about the object you brought aboard. To end the pain, you need only tell me the truth. Better say Aramis what he wants to know. Drink this will feel better.
How tough do you think humans are? If I knew anything, I'd have told him in the first 5 minutes. If he keeps this up, he's gonna kill me. Why don't you believe me?
Do you know Narwi?
No.
Aramis knows Narwi. Narwi has to be forced to be honest. If you ask Narwi a question, he will lie or pretend he doesn't understand or has forgotten. For Narwi, enough and it always tell.
I'm not a Norway. Is he too stupid to see that?
Aramis thinks you used the Narwi trick. Besides, Aramis is very angry.
Why is he angry at me? I didn't do anything to him.
When Aramis is angry, everybody in trouble. Colors were not supposed to destroy Robot Nest.
They didn't. The robots did it themselves.
It doesn't matter. Aramis wanted to capture robots to work for him.
I'm afraid there won't be much to capture.
Aramis went to see what salvage team brought back. It's truly not much. It'll be worse when he comes back.
Can't you help me? You believe me, don't you?
My job to believe or not believe. Can't help.
Then he's gonna kill me because I don't have anything to tell him? Oh, maybe it's just as well.
Oh, perfect Narwi thought. Don't let Aramis hear. It's time to stop playing. I grow impatient.
That was playing, huh? You people have a funny idea about games. Well, remind me not to play Cutthroat 8-card with you. Wait, you don't need that.
Oh, have you decided to share your knowledge after all?
I always was willing to. You just didn't want what I had to offer.
I will know who you are and what you know about the object you brought aboard.
Look, the fact is you know as much as I do about who I am, and I wouldn't be surprised if you knew more than I do about the silver box. But there is something I know more about than you, and that's robots. How did your prospecting go?
He brought back fragments only. Your robots were very efficient about destroying themselves.
They weren't my robots. But why don't you show me what you have?
That will be a good test of your intentions and usefulness. I will have you build me a robot.
What?
If you truly don't know who you are, then you have no loyalties or obligations to any other master. When you have built me a robot servant, I will know that you have accepted your place serving me.
what if I can't build you a robot out of what you have? I said I knew a lot about them. I didn't say I could manufacture one out of good intentions. You know, I need certain key parts.
If you fail, I will know that you are either unreliable or have no usefulness to me at all, and I should not waste any valuable consumables keeping you alive.
Well, what are we waiting for? Show me your inventory. I see this isn't a new hobby of yours. Seems to be enough bit parts to make about 1.5 robots. So what have you got in the way of an engineering lab around here? I'm ready to get to work.
Explain each step as you perform it.
You intend to sit there and watch?
I intend to learn what you know.
All right, then I hope you're a patient sort.
According to your story, it took you only a short time to convert an article of clothing into an escape propulsion system. This should require even less time, since you only need to turn a robot into a robot.
You've got to be kidding. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it at all, much less in an hour or two.
Explain the problem.
The problem is you don't have the right tools. I need a diagnostic bench, an etcher, micro-manipulators. There's nothing in here that would even pass for a chip mask or circuit tracer.
Such tools as are available will be brought to you. Describe what you need to work, and she will bring them to you or take you to them.
Thank you.
Do not make the mistake of trying to deceive me. I may be ignorant of your art, but I am not foolish. Save your words of apology. Show me results.
Right, boss.
Oh, look, you're running this one's robot so bad. Otherwise, I guess, be dead now.
Thanks for the cheery thought. What exactly does he want them for?
Can you figure? Aranimus wants to replace Narwi with robots. Aranimus is sick of Narwi crying scenes.
Do the Narwi know what he has in mind?
Narwi be on best behavior since the boss told them. What do need to work?
First things first. I can't say your name even as well as Randomus does.
Oh, that's pretty low standard.
Look, I have to call you something. Can you live with Woolworth?
Well, it's not my name, but I know who you mean when you say it.
Without a diagnostic board or even a computer at his disposal, Derek had no choice but to activate the robot and rely on his own self-diagnostic capabilities. No easy task. Yet within a week's time, Derek built Aranimus a robot to serve him. Or so Aranimus was led to believe.
Oh. Alpha.
Yes, Derek?
Did you just monitor a jump?
No, Derek. Since the reflexes of my positronic brain are so much faster than yours, robots do not experience the disorientation common among humans.
And you can't tell me anything about it, how far we might have jumped?
Without knowing the power curve of the vessel's drive, I would not have been able to interpolate from the duration of the jump in any case. However, that does not rule out second-hand evidence concerning our destination.
What second-hand evidence? Where did you get it?
Sir, Aranimus and Woolworth held a discussion about it in my presence.
When?
This evening, less than 1 decade ago. It was my impression that they had come here to find you, that in your absence lingered to examine me. Woolworth described the work she observed you doing, told how my position varied each time she visited, and pointed out to Aranimus several of my access ports and described what lay under them.
Yeah, I thought you were spying on me. What else happened?
Aranimus seemed disturbed that you were absent without supervision and ordered Woolworth to watch you more closely in the future.
All right, get to the point. Where are we? Where are we going?
I was supposed to make certain inferences from what I heard, but I believe we are making an inbound approach to a site where Aranimus expects to obtain a large quantity of additional robots.
Woolworth, you said you were my friend. Let me be yours.
What do you mean?
Aranimus is working you like a slave and abusing you like an animal. It doesn't have to be that way. We can put a stop to it together.
How?
I have a tool, the robot, and I have some ideas, but I need you to tell me some things about Aranimus and about how the ship is controlled.
You want Joel back?
I do.
Well, take it and leave me to face Aranimus.
I do have to get away. I can't let Aranimus take me back to Mrazdiv. But if I can't leave you in a better situation than you're in now, I'll take you with me. Wolrith, we're the only ones who can help each other. If we don't try, then we deserve what happens to us.
That is true. Okay, friend, let's try. But now, must see.
Alpha, my previous instructions for you to go into a wait state when one of the aliens approaches are now cancelled.
I understand, Derek.
I am now going to give you a block of instructions which will not become operative until you hear the initiate code. The initiate code, which must come from me, is the question, who is your master? The disable code is the word Aurora.
I understand, Derek.
Begin instruction block. You will answer the initiate code with the reply, Aranimus. You'll go with Aranimus wherever he wishes you to go. You're to follow his orders except where they conflict with the first, second, or third laws or this instruction block. You will not follow orders given by Wolrith or any other non-human member of the crew. You will not accept any additional orders from me unless preceded by the disable code. You will respond to informational inquiries from Wolrith or myself. However, you will not relate, replay, or in any way communicate to Aranimus this conversation or any other conversation with me, which he did not witness.
Verification. You wish for Aranimus to believe that I am completely at his service.
Suspend. I do. If he's going to get any use out of you, he's going to have to teach you about the ship. Anything you learn will help us escape.
I understand the necessity for intelligence, sir. But if I am to protect you, I must remain at your side.
Since Aranimus is in command of this ship, he's the real threat to me. Only his actions or his orders can harm me. By remaining close to him, he will be best able to protect me.
I understand, sir.
All right, resume. There are two things that we particularly need to know. A valuable object came aboard with me. A metallic rectangle, silver color, about 5 by 10 centimeters. I think it's the same object Aranimus called the key and Wolrith the jewel. It's apparently valuable and powerful. We need to know where it is.
Yes, Derek. I will be particularly alert for clues to this object's whereabouts.
The other thing we need to know is what spacer facility we're headed for and when we're going to get there. Now, if we wait too long to move, Aranimus will have us locked up somewhere to keep us out of his hair while he's stealing robots.
That would be a prudent precaution.
Which means Aranimus will probably think of it. If you learn where the key is located, you're to wait 1 decade and then simulate a code 804 malfunction. If you learn where we're headed or when we arrive, you're to wait 15 centads and then simulate a code 3033 malfunction. End instruction block.
That night, sleep did not come easy. When it finally did, it seemed as though he closed his eyes one moment, and the next, someone was shaking him.
Aranimus want
Is it the robot?
No, sir, it won't listen to the boss anymore. It just sits there.
This could be it then. I'll get my tools. Okay, wait here.
The robot has malfunctioned. Repair it.
What did you do?
I did nothing. The mechanism ceased to obey me.
Well, you must have done something. Alpha, acknowledge. Alpha, default 2C2D, execute.
What is wrong with my servant?
Looks like a failure of the volitional initiator. If two contradictory impulses reach it on the same pulse, it can set up a standing wave in the oscillator. And it's almost always the owner's fault. What did you ask it to do?
Nothing wrong. I was explaining the functions of the equipment in this section when its hand began to twirl foolishly that way.
Oh, don't lie to me. I should have known that a race as backward as yours couldn't cope with sophisticated machinery.
You are worse than denial.
You are at the service of a true superior.
As he spoke, his hand moved towards the gap in his robe-like blouse.
Aurora!
Release!
I cannot allow you to harm Derek.
You are my servant. Obey my orders. Release me.
No, Aranimus, Alpha's my servant and always was. Warwick, you can come in now.
My own weapons cannot be used against me.
A very clever management technique, but I have my own weapons.
Derek pointed the pump of a small pressure bottle half full of the mustard yellow liquid at Aranimus and pressed the switch.
Release him.
I detect no respiration.
He's not dead. His system received a poison shot, but he'll recover.
I will try to integrate. We are approaching an independent free-flying space station.
Frost. I was hoping he'd take us right into one of the spacer worlds. How much time do we have?
I am unable to accurately estimate our arrival time. However, I did determine that the ship's crew is presently at the lowest level of alert.
So we probably have more than a few hours. Has Aranimus been in contact with the station?
Not that I am aware of, sir. This vessel does not appear to have a hyperwave communication. Only simple carrier-wave radio.
Okay, what about the key? Do you know where it is?
Within minutes. I believe it is concealed beneath one of the deck tiles of the command center.
Let's go see. How did you find it?
Aranimus showed the key to me and questioned me about it. When he left with it, I was not able to see precisely what disposition he made of it. However, the time he was gone limited the radius of concealment to this deck, and the sounds I heard were consistent with the removal and replacement of a floor tile.
Any idea where I should start?
The strategy of concealment would argue against obvious positions such as the center and corners. Beyond that, I cannot say.
Alpha, pick up Aranimus and go with Walraf. She'll show you where to put him. Walraf, make sure it's something Aranimus can't open from the inside. And then both of you come back here. Look, I know you don't like the robot.
Maybe surprise, Wolf? Like surprise, Aranimus.
I promise you it'll be all right. No surprises. I'll be waiting for you right here.
Half a dozen meters down the central corridor, a circular platform was descending from the ceiling, suspended on 4 slender wires, and standing on the platform was a woman, a young human female, no more than a year or two older than Derek, but a good 5 centimeters taller.
You? Here?
You'd better tell me real fast who you are and what you're doing here. I don't have a lot of time to decide what to do about you.
What to do about me? I don't owe you any answers, not after what you did.
Hey, I only helped Aranimus to buy time and save my neck. The robot's mine now and Aranimus can't hurt you. We're gonna get out of here.
But what are you doing here? How long have you been on board?
It doesn't take long to tell. 5 days ago, I woke up in a survival pod on the surface of an asteroid. I was found by a colony of robots mining the place. Aranimus raided the colony and took me prisoner.
So you weren't looking for me?
Look, I didn't know anyone else was on the ship. Wolraf told me they'd captured a couple of human ships, but she left the impression the crews were all gone.
Well, I think Aranimus kept me alive because he was interested in my robots. Are you the one that repaired Capek?
Capek? Was that its old name? It answers to Alpha now. Yes, I'm the one who fixed it.
And what were you doing when I surprised you? What were you looking for?
Some of my property that Aranimus took when I came aboard.
The key? Was that yours?
Do you know about it?
Well, Aranimus showed it to me. Is that where it's hidden?
According to Alpha.
Is it important?
I think so.
Well, then let's get it and get out of here.
Yeah, I can look for the key and listen at the same time. Can't you tell me what you know about me?
Good morning. Please do not try to move.
Aranimus got his robots.
Excuse me, sir.
He won. I didn't get away.
Sir?
Tell Aranimus I won't stop trying.
Sir, I would be happy to deliver the message for you. However, the person you named is unknown to me. Where may this individual be found?
Aranimus is the ship's boss.
This individual was a member of the ship's company?
Yes.
Sir, I regret to inform you that no person of that name was found when the paramedics boarded.
What? I'm not on the ship?
You are resting on a therapeutic diamagnetic force field, more commonly known as an airbed. The airbed is in the intensive care ward of the hospital at Rockcliffe Station, where you shall receive the best of care.
You have a name?
My assigned designation is Human Diagnostic Medicine Specialist 4. However, the supervisor of medicine for this district refers to me as Dr. Galen.
Why?
He has never explained this to me. However, I have determined that Galen was the name of a Greek physician of the classical age.
I think you're probably right. You won't be offended if I do call you Dr. Galen. It's a good bit handier than your other name.
Why should I be offended, sir?
No reason. Where's your supervisor?
Next on.
Huh?
You seem disturbed by this. Is there a problem?
No problem. Except, I'd like to know a little more about what happened. How did I get here?
I do not know all the details. The dispatcher or dock supervisor would be better sources of information.
Tell me what you know.
Apparently your ship was disabled following its jump. Exactly what happened next is not clear. The dispatcher will no doubt want to inquire about the circumstances. However, it appeared as though your ship discarded or released a smaller vessel, a shuttle or lifeboat, before changing course and heading into the Q zone.
Well, maybe I could go see what kind of shape the ship is in. Answer any questions the dispatcher has.
I'm sorry, sir. Your injuries are not yet sufficiently healed to permit that.
What are my injuries?
You suffered flash burns over 15% of your body, primarily over your arms, face, and neck. 3 of your ribs were cracked.
I must have fallen on the tile I was lifting.
One punctured your right lung, causing it to collapse. Your right eardrum was perforated and had to be replaced.
Frost. How long have I been here?
The ship on which you were found was boarded 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks? Was I in a coma or something?
Burns are extremely painful, as is reconstructive epidermal surgery. I kept you under chemical narcosis during treatment and the initial phase of recovery.
Where are the others? Woolworth and Alpha, the girl. What have they been doing while I was narked?
I am sorry. The only persons found were yourself and a female human.
Oh, I'm sorry, Woolworth.
Excuse me, sir.
Never mind. Tell me about the girl.
She was found near you inside the ship.
That is not what I mean. Tell me how she is.
Patient Catherine's physical.
Wait, Catherine? Is that her name?
Is there some error?
No. No, that's her. Where is she?
Orderly, draw the curtain back.
Oh, is she?
Her integumentary injuries were more extensive than your own, but she is healing well. Of course, the chronic condition remains unchanged.
What condition is that?
I'm sorry, I see that I have made an error. Since you were traveling together, I did not think I was betraying any secrets by discussing confidence charge. I will have to report myself for this indiscretion.
I don't care about that. Has she been awake?
No, sir. While you were unconscious, we attempted to identify you by means of all the standard systems. We were not successful.
Standard systems?
Fingerprint, retinograph, absolute blood protein typing, and 23rd chromosome codon map. We were not able to establish a match.
No, of course you weren't. I'm not from here.
Sir, by hyperwave, we have direct access to the records of all 50 spacer worlds.
Yep. Did you check the records for Aurora?
Yes, we were not able to establish a match.
But I'm from there. I know I am.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Aurora keeps scrupulous records on their citizens as part of their population control program. If you were in Aurora, this conversation would not have been necessary.
But you found out who she is.
That is correct. Catherine's full records were made available to me.
You telling me that you searched the citizenship records of 50 planets and can't find out who I am?
No. We have searched the records of 55 worlds, including Earth and the 4 nearest settler planets, and still have not ascertained your identity. Could you please tell us who you are?
I wish I could. Can I see her now?
She is awake and her algesia has moderated, but she is the final arbiter.
Then I'm going to go see what she has to say.
I was hoping someone would come to see me.
You left me with some good reasons to.
Derek, I'm afraid you're going to be angry with me. We have a lot of ground to make up together, all the things that happened on the ship, and I don't think we should start with the little I know about you.
What is this? What did you tell her, Doctor? I thought you were trying to help me.
I cannot do otherwise.
So you're going to keep secrets from me?
Dr. Galen, go away. Go back to your office and leave us alone. Don't monitor me and don't listen in. And we'll call you if we need you.
Robot calls you Catherine.
I am Catherine Ariel Burgess to my mother and the computer. Everyone else calls me Kate.
Huh. I think I'll stick to Catherine. What were you doing on Aranimus' ship?
I was a prisoner just like you were. My robots and I were kidnapped off a courier ship. Hey, I just remembered. Where's the key? You didn't let the robots have it, did you?
I don't know where it is. I don't even know that it was ever where I thought it was.
Is the ship here? Have you been back in it?
Frost, I don't know. Hadn't even been out of the hospital until this morning. Will you tell me this? Why is that key so important? What is it? What's it the key to?
I don't know. I only know that Aranimus thought it was worth anything to get. Wait, I thought you said the key was your property. Don't you know why it's important?
It is my property. Space salvage. Or a gift. Either way, I've got the best claim to it.
But you don't know what it is.
No.
Well, maybe you do know, but it's one of the things you've forgotten.
I guess that's possible. Did Aranimus come to the asteroid specifically looking for the key? Not because I was there?
I think he went to the asteroid on purpose, but I don't think he knew the key was there. I'm almost positive he didn't know you were there. I think you were just lucky.
I'd sure rather be here than back on that asteroid.
Lucky, then. Look, if it is yours, maybe getting it back into your hands would help you remember something. And even if it doesn't, we need to find out what happened to that key. Aranimus had to have some reason for wanting it.
Woolworth called it the jewel when she talked to Aranimus. I don't think she meant it literally.
Either way, it's something valuable. Are we going to try to find it or not?
We? Of course we are. But first we have other matters to attend to. Like getting back our ship. Well, that should be the station manager. Derek here.
Greetings. I'm Station Manager Amazon. I hope the care you're receiving is satisfactory.
Where's our ship?
I regret, sir, that I'm not permitted to tell you.
Who gave you that order?
I regret, sir, that I'm not permitted to tell you that either.
Who's your supervisor? What's his name?
My supervisor's name is Aaron Jacobson.
Get him on this channel.
Mr. Jacobson may not be available at this time.
Do it!
This is Amazon, manager of Rockwell Station, requesting a conference with Mr. Jacobson.
Yes, Amazon, what is it?
Amazon called you on my behalf. Your robots have appropriated my ship. I expect you to order them to return it.
And our robot. We want Quebec back, too.
Excuse me, but by whom do I have the pleasure of being ordered about?
My name is Derek.
Just Derek? No last name like a robot?
Don't be cute. You know all about me. I'm sure there's a file on me in your library.
I have many files in my library. I'm responsible for facilities which employ 2,600 humans and nearly 8,000 robots. Believe me when I tell you that neither your name nor your face are familiar to me. And you, miss?
Catherine Burgess, and don't call me Miss.
My apologies if I insulted you. Now, if I could ask for you to reiterate your complaint, it is most irregular to have someone barge in on a private call. I'm afraid it rather distracted me.
We were found on a damaged spacecraft and brought here. Now the station manager refuses to allow us access to our ship.
Refuse you access? Whatever for?
It won't tell us. It says it's been ordered not to tell us. My guess is by you.
I assure you not. But if you'll just allow me a moment to check the records. Oh, yes, of course.
What? Of course what?
I do recall hearing about you after all. You're the amnesia case Dr. Galen is studying. That explains a great deal.
Not to me.
But it does all the same. You see, the care you've been receiving is quite costly.
Oh, Dr. Galen said my bill will be charged against the station account.
I'm afraid Dr. Galen made an error. You see, that would be the case if you were an indigent or unable to pay, or if the cost of your care exceeded the guarantee made by your home world on behalf of its citizens.
But my case is different.
Indeed, your citizenship was unknown. Your financial assets were unknown. Indeed, there is even some question about your majority under space law.
I am old enough.
We have decided to presume so. But in any case, since you have not been able to supply us with identification, we have no choice but to seize your personal assets in payment for your account.
My tangible assets?
Your ship and its contents have been appraised generously. Even so, I'm afraid there is not much left after subtracting the salvage fee and the expenses of the rescue operation. Still, there is more than enough to cover passage to Nexon and keep you fed in the meantime.
You can't do that. You can't just take everything a man owns.
It is judgment of the Minister of Finance that anyone who has assets enough to own such a ship in the first place can quite afford to pay his bills. If I were to let you get away with this, I would be overwhelmed by freeloaders, all claiming to have forgotten where their funds are held.
You accusing me of making this up? Ask Dr. Galen.
Dr. Galen does not set policy for this station. I do.
Well, at least you finally admit that this is your doing. I can't believe you have the nerve to charge me for rescuing me. You would have gone out to intercept that ship whether we were on it or not.
From our point of view, that ship wouldn't have been there endangering our facility unless you were in it.
You won't get away with this.
It's not a question of getting away with anything. We are well within our rights. You should be grateful that you're alive instead of fussing over a ship which I understand is not in viable condition. Since you couldn't have paid for its repair, you would have had to try to sell it anyway, and I doubt very much that you would have gotten anything near the price you were paid by us.
Jacobson,
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other business to attend to.
Do you believe that performance?
Performance?
This isn't what it looks like. This is just a way of separating us from the ship. To pay us for it, they'd have to have proof that we own it. More than our own word and the fact that they found us in it. Do you know why they're not asking us for that proof? They don't want to know. Just like they don't want to know whether I'm too young to be responsible for my own debts.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to wait around quietly until the next freighter comes and then meekly traipse off to Nexon. And I'm not about to let a bunch of robots keep me away from my property, even if they are following the orders of that milk face.
Sounds like I'm going to need to start calling you Kate.
Maybe you better.
Good. Because I think we're going to need her. This isn't going to be easy.
I know. But there's a limit to how many places you can hide a ship that size, even in a station this large. If it's still here, we'll find it. You were on the ship with us the whole time? And you've been hiding out ever since?
I was coming through Interlock Alpha 2 when I heard the bomb go off. Noise bring other errani. Controls dead and not much better. So I cut it loose. When robots come I hide, when shit dark I slip out. Been hiding ever since.
How much of the dark sections have you been through looking for food?
Lots. But the jewel's not there. If this is what you're wondering, I don't want you. Just trouble for everyone. But I know where it is.
All right, we're in business.
Do you remember exactly where? Can you take us there?
I remember always, so I can take ooh. Don't want to. Don't want key. Don't want to see robots. Robots to see me. But oh, be my friend and feed me, and I be your friend and show. Okay?
They let me in. Even gave me a little tour. Very accommodating.
I figured that out when you weren't back in 2 minutes. What about the key?
It's there, all right, sitting out in plain sight. What idiots.
Not really. Describe what you saw.
It's a big semicircular room with glass all around, except for the offices at the back. There's 5 robots at workstations, including Amazon. And there's 2 more near the center of the room doing nothing but sitting facing each other with the artifact on the table between them. There was some sort of funny emblem on the shoulder of those robots, a blue F in a double gold circle.
Oh, no. Falk X-50s.
Does that mean something?
It means trouble. They have super fast reflexes. If a bomb went off 5 meters in the opposite direction, they might be distracted long enough for you to get your hands on the key. But you'd never get out of the room with it. Now, if we're going to get it back, we're going to have some way to neutralize 7 robots at once. And I don't know any. The robots were probably ordered to watch it constantly. In principle, if not in so many words.
Any ideas?
Not yet, except that no matter how carefully worded and strongly impressed their orders to protect the key are, they're only covered by the second law.
Following orders is the second law.
That's what I just said.
What if Woolworth and I gave them a first law reason to disregard them? A little robot theater, shall we say?
Do you think you can be convincing?
I'd rather try than not.
All right, then. Let me think this through. Amazon.
Yes, Gary?
I've decided not to wait for the Nexon shuttle. I want to charter a ship to come and get me and take me to Aurora. Tell me the procedure I should follow.
There are 7 ships to Nexonian registry licensed for Aurora space and available for hire. You may contact any of their owners by hyper...
Robots, help that woman! She's being harmed! She may be killed!
Derek could wait no longer. Snatching the artifact up from the table, he turned and ran the other way, vaulting over a console and out through the window. He ran until his chest ached and his legs were iron. Each breath was pain until darkness swallowed him and he hid from those who wanted to find him.
Derek?
Here, in the corner.
You did it! Let me see!
No, don't come near me.
What's going on? What's happening to you? We did it! We've got it!
So we do. It's confessions time, that's all. I've had some time to sit here and think about things. It's amazing how being scared will focus your thoughts.
What are you talking about? Derek, I don't know anything more than I've already told you.
Oh, don't try it. Talk to me.
If anyone's keeping secrets, perhaps it's Derek. The key was found on the asteroid claim we're shipwrecked on. Why did you go to that spot when we were escaping? Because knew that it was there. Maybe because put it there and wanted to get it back.
The robots are looking for us. They've reactivated this section, maybe the whole station. They can use the environmental systems to find out where lights are being used, where the oxygen demand is up.
We can't stay here. We gotta move. We've got to get the key hidden again before they find us.
Wrong. Unless one of you starts talking, I'm gonna wait right here until the robots show up and then hand it to them. It's up to you.
Walrus, if you do know something, you better tell him straight and tell him fast, or the key's lost. If you wait any longer, we'll never get away.
Take it and leave me and I'll never get home.
That won't happen. We won't abandon you.
I already promised you that. I meant it.
Tell him. Tell us.
But baby is said to be the place nearest to every other place in the universe. All the key to the room, which is the center of all. The key through Perihelion. You should be able to travel anywhere.
Some kind of matter transporter?
No, it is the key that opens the door to Perihelion.
I have never heard any stories about a key to Perihelion.
Where did the keys come from?
Animals could not even learn where the tales come from.
How does it work? Where are the controls?
There is only one control that animals could find. Push each corner in turn. A button will appear.
No, wait, press the corners clockwise or counterclockwise? Starting where? Which side?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Turn it any way you choose. The button always appears in the last corner of touch, and always on the side facing O. If you do nothing, the button disappears again.
And if you push the button, do you go to Perihelion?
No, that is what should happen, I think. But it does not. The key does not function.
You tried it with her animals?
Many times. No!
Wait!
Perihelion.
Walrus said it was the nearest place to everywhere. Feels more like the farthest place from anywhere.
Where is she?
Back on Rockcliffe Station, I guess, left behind.
Why didn't the key bring her with us?
Well, maybe for the same reason it wouldn't work for her. Maybe she was too far away from us. Maybe you have to be touching it or touching someone who's touching it. I don't know. But we have to go back and get her.
But the robots...
It was Alpha. You didn't even look.
I didn't know. Press it again. Let's go back.
How do we know we will?
Well, I was thinking about escape when I pushed it. Think about going back. What is this? Where did you send us?
I don't know. I had Rockcliffe Station in my mind.
Are we on Earth?
No.
I have never seen such a thing before. Is it Woolworth's homeworld or Aranimus's?
I don't know. Well, we can find the answer easily enough, though.
How?
By going down there.
No, send us back.
I don't know if I can.
Well, try, or let me try.
We'll try. What it did has to take a lot of power. You know, maybe it has to recharge, or be recharged. Either way, it looks like we're here for a while.
Well, I don't want to go down there. It'll be night soon. Let's just stay here until morning, and then we can try the key again.
Do you remember what the stars looked like from Aurora?
I never knew. I wasn't interested. Your first name is David.
Yeah. Why tell me now?
So I can stop the mental gymnastics every time I start to talk to you? Because I thought you'd want to know.
And because we don't know what's going to happen to us?
I won't think like that. I don't believe in it.
I should have known better. Are you going to drop more than one crumb? How is it you know me? Where'd we meet?
You were the engineer's mate on a settler merchantman. The Daniel O'Neill, I think it was called. Does it sound familiar?
No. What else can you tell me?
I'm afraid I don't know you as well as I let you think. We crossed paths in the spaceport. I'm sorry. Even so, I thought you'd be happier knowing.
I'd be happier remembering. Anyway, it doesn't seem to matter as much at the moment. I don't know a thing about this David. At least I know a little about Derek. I think I'll say Derek for the time being.
I didn't tell you everything. I didn't tell you about the...
Don't. If my name didn't bring it back, nothing. I'll save the rest. And you'll be able to tell me whether I'm remembering or inventing.
I know your memory will come back. It has to.
Say, if you want to go to sleep, I'll watch to make sure you don't get restless and try to airwalk.
Okay, Derek.
They woke, thoroughly chilled, and the early rays of the rising sun did little to warm them. Despite the cold, Catherine quickly separated herself from him as though embarrassed by the contact.
Let's try the key.
No hello, no good morning?
Come on, I had a bad dream that I'd like to rule out as quickly as possible.
What happened?
I was stuck here with you.
I'll do the honors.
Ready?
What do we think of? Perihelion or the station?
Perihelion first. I think we have to.
Ready if you are. Now the station?
How about Aurora? Woolworth said we could go anywhere with it. Why should we take ourselves back to trouble?
No. First we go back to get Woolworth. I owe her.
I don't want to go back there. We won't be able to use the key again to get away. Not for hours. They'll have us locked up and it locked up by then. And we won't have done anything for Woolworth. Well, you could get help on Aurora, get a ship, and go back for her.
How?
I have friends on Aurora.
You'll have to do the steering. I don't have a clear enough image of Aurora in my head.
Happy to do it. Hold tight. Frost! What went wrong?
Obviously, there's more to controlling the key than just thinking about where you want to go.
But why here, then? A place that neither one of us knows.
I don't know. But it could be worse. You know, I can hardly believe what this thing does. For a machine this size to be able to transport matter 10 feet, much less 10 light years. It's the most fantastic feat of engineering. I mean, damn near magic. I'd love to take it apart and see how it works. Finally, I understand why everybody wants it. What I don't understand is why someone tried to hide it.
What do you mean?
Well, something Woolworth told me. The asteroid that I woke up on, it was artificial. Somebody meant it to be that final hiding place for this.
As though it were dangerous, not just powerful.
And this place, just look at it. It's glorious. Doesn't just seeing it make you feel exhilarated?
You're gonna go down there whether I do or not, aren't you?
Yes. I'll leave the key with you if you want.
I thought we were a team.
Are we still?
Don't you want to be?
I don't know if we want the same things. You want to go back to Aurora. I want to do something to help Woolworth. And then look into this business of the Daniel O'Neill.
Both of which require getting off this planet. Our interests overlap, at least that do.
They do indeed. All right then. We're still a team.
At least until we kill ourselves trying to get down from here.
Tucking the key in his waist, Derek and Catherine made their way down the steep face of the tower.
Hey, partner. Time out for a conference.
Well, I thought you were already taking a time out as slow as you move. What's up?
Well, I thought about the key. So, we really want to take it down there? Not knowing what we're walking into?
That would be taking a risk. You want to leave it here in one of these holes?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The key's heavy enough and the hole's deep enough that there's nothing going to dislodge it.
I don't like the idea of being separated from it. It's one of our two chances to get out of here, and maybe the better one for all we know.
I like the idea of being separated from it by force even less. What do you say?
You're right. Let's hide it.
At ground level, 100 meters below their feet, a dozen figures stood in a half circle.
Please move slowly and exercise all possible care. Climbing a compass tower is a dangerous activity.
What's your name?
I am M3323.
Very well, M3323. Take me, us, to the city manager.
The city currently does not have a manager. What is your name, please?
Derek. David Derek. But...
And I am Catherine Burgess. Look, we need to talk to the person on top, no matter what you call them. City manager, king, president, god. Oh, and we need a place to see to our hygienic needs. Something with a shower and a personal. And while we're busy with that, you can arrange a meeting for us with someone who can help us with our other problems. Is there any problem with that?
No, Catherine. Arrangements are now being made. If you will follow me, I will lead you to the appropriate facilities.
M3323?
Yes, David Derek.
Is this part of the city exclusively used by robots? Where are all the people?
I do not know, sir. This way, please. In here, please.
Who are we meeting?
Rydberg and Hewler. They're waiting for you in the inner office.
Kate.
I am Rydberg.
I am Hewler.
I am afraid there's some mistake. We want to talk to people.
There is no error. We are the representatives assigned to your case.
Kate, this is wrong.
If they want to do it this way, I don't care. Look, we need to see about transportation to Aurora and Nexon. That's where you're going, isn't it, Derek? And temporary accommodations.
I'm afraid that is not possible.
What? Why not?
Friend Hewler's statement was imprecise. It is possible to leave, but there is a problem. A human being has been killed.
Why does that involve us?
It would be an unthinkable violation of the laws of robotics for a robot to harm a human being. I am unable even to form the thought without experiencing distress.
Of course it wasn't a robot. Another human being did it, obviously.
Disregard yourselves. There are no other human beings here.
Our guide said something about that. But just because they have no business here doesn't mean that they didn't come over here from some other sector anyway. And someone who'd murder wouldn't worry too long about proper travel passes or whatever it is you use here.
I will clarify. Friend Hewler meant to say that there are no other human beings in this city.
Well, then from one of the other cities.
There are no other cities on this planet.
What are you saying? Where are we?
I regret that I may not identify this planet or its star, but we who live here call this place Robot City.
There's nothing but robots here?
Discounting yourselves, that is correct.
No one in this whole city? It must be 50 hectares.
205.
Where are the inhabitants, the builders? Where did they go?
We are the inhabitants and the builders, friend Derek.
Where are your owners? Where are the people you report to?
Your question is based on an erroneous assumption. Robot City is a free and autonomous community.
Well, that can't be. I mean, maybe there are no humans here now. Maybe you're not presently in contact with any, but they must have brought you here, or sent you here. You must still be following their directives.
No, friend Derek. We are self-directed, but we are not unaware of human beings. We have a vast library of book films by and about human beings, and we have accepted our responsibility to see that humans do not come to harm.
I hope you understand, friend Derek, why we are obliged to delay your departure. This is our first experience with death. We need your help in understanding how it happened, and in understanding how the experience of death should be integrated into our studies of the laws of humanics.
The laws of humanics? What are they?
The human counterparts, the laws of robotics, those guiding principles which govern human behavior. At present, the laws of humanics are a theoretical construct. We are attempting to determine if laws of humanics exist, and if they do, what they are. This incident has placed the research project in crisis. You must help us. I assure you that you will be afforded every possible comfort.
This is crazy. A city of robots with no one to guide them? Doing research on human beings like we were some curiosity?
Derek stopped fighting the truth and embraced it. The community on the asteroid and the great city surrounding him were products of the same mind, the same plan. He hadn't escaped at all. But at least, at last, he understood why. why he was given the key, and why it had brought him here. The last to touch it had been Monitor 5. Knowing what it was and what it was capable of, the robot could do nothing other than give it to him, programmed for what it knew would be a safe destination, a sister colony of robots, light years away.
Derek?
Shh. Could you excuse us for a moment? We need to talk.
Certainly, friend Derek. We will leave.
You stay. We will leave.
Where are we going? They're gonna follow us.
Shh. Look. We're not going anywhere. At least I'm not. I really did want to talk privately.
What do you mean, you're not going anywhere?
I'm going to stay. I won't tell them that, though. I'll offer to stay and cooperate on the condition they arrange transportation for you. They don't need both of us.
No, you don't have to do that.
Hey, I'm not going to stay just to appease them or to get them to let you go. I'm staying because I want to.
Want to? Why?
Well, I started thinking about how I'd feel if they did what we asked and put us on a ship to Aurora or wherever. How I'd feel if I never found out anymore about the key.
Well, we could take it with us.
Never found out where this planet is or why the robots are here. Never went back for Walraff and found out what happened to her. Well, I thought about it and I realized I couldn't just walk away. It's true. I don't know who I am. Even so, I know that's not the kind of person I want to be. Look, Catherine, can't we part friends?
No, because if you're staying, I'm staying too.
You don't have to do that. They're my causes, not yours. This is a safe world. I'll be fine alone.
You don't like my company?
We get on all right.
Then are you trying to tell me that this is something a girl can't handle or shouldn't worry your head about?
Of course not.
Then let's go tell Euler and Rydberg.
Well, we should do what we can to help. Tell us the story. Who are the suspects?
Yes, David and Derek. There are 2 suspects, yourself and Catherine Burgess. We are most curious to learn which of you committed the act and why.